Zara had studied humans for 3 cycles now, but nothing prepared her for this moment. The tall human male stood before her in the medical bay, completely unaware of her shock. His name was Jake Miller, and he was the first human she had ever seen, without clothing for medical examination. Her 4 eyes blinked in sequence as she stared at the strange appendage hanging between his legs. It moved slightly as he breathed, and she could not help but think of the great sandworms from her homeworld human. "Why do you have a mini Shai-Hulud there between your legs?" she asked in perfect English. Though her voice carried the melodic tones of her species, Jake looked down, then back at her with confusion. "What is a Shai-Hulud?" Zara gestured with one of her 6 arms toward his lower body. "The great worms of Kepler 442b. They are massive creatures that burrow through our crystal sands. Your small one there, it looks just like them." The human started laughing, which made the appendage bounce slightly. Zara stepped back, thinking it might be some kind of defensive response. "Oh, you mean this?" Jake said, still chuckling. "It's not a worm. It's just part of human anatomy. All human males have them." Zara tilted her elongated head sideways, showing her confusion. "But why does it move on its own? Does it have its own mind?" Jake rubbed the back of his neck, looking embarrassed. "Well, sort of. Sometimes it does seem to have a mind of its own." This fascinated Zara more than any other human trait she had discovered. Her species reproduced through spore exchange during their yearly crystal bloom season. The idea of a separate thinking appendage was beyond her understanding. She moved closer with scientific curiosity. "May I examine it further? For research purposes, of course." Jake hesitated but remembered that Zara was the lead xenobiologist on the joint human-alien research station. Her species had shared their advanced medical technology freely, so he felt obligated to help with her studies. "Sure, but please, be gentle." Zara extended one of her thinner arms, the ones she used for delicate work. The skin of her hand was smooth and cool like polished stone. As she touched the appendage, Jake jumped slightly. "It responds to touch stimuli," she noted, speaking into her recording device. "The texture is softer than expected, and the temperature is warmer than the rest of the subject." As she continued her examination, something unexpected happened. The appendage began to change, growing larger and harder. Jake turned, bright red, which Zara found curious since she had never seen a human change color before. "Most interesting," she said. "The mini Shai-Hulud appears to be transforming." "Is this a defensive mechanism?" "Not exactly," Jake managed to say through gritted teeth. "It's more of a biological response to certain stimuli." Zara was amazed by this discovery. On her world, such rapid physical changes only happened during extreme danger or the mating season. She made more notes while Jake stood there trying to think of anything except her cool, smooth hands. "The transformation appears to be involuntary," she observed. "The subject shows signs of distress, but also elevated heart rate and breathing patterns similar to our mating responses." Jake could not take it anymore. "Look, Zara, this is getting a bit too scientific for me. Maybe we should continue this later." But Zara was lost in her research fascination. "According to my studies, human mating rituals are complex and involve this appendage in ways that seem impossible, given its normal size. How does it function in its enlarged state?" Jake realized he was going to have to explain human reproduction to an alien scientist who saw everything through the lens of research. This was not how he had planned to spend his afternoon. "Well," he began, "when humans want to create offspring, this part of anatomy plays an important role. It changes like this to facilitate the process." Zara made rapid notes with 2 of her arms while still examining him with a third. "So the mini Shai-Hulud is actually a reproductive organ that can alter its size and rigidity on demand. This is remarkable. Your species has evolved a most efficient system." Jake had never thought of it quite that way, but when she put it in scientific terms, it sounded less embarrassing. "On Kepler 442b, our reproduction requires both partners to release spores simultaneously during the crystal bloom season," she explained. "The spores must combine in the atmosphere before settling into breeding pools. Your system seems much more direct and controlled." As she spoke, Zara noticed the appendage was slowly returning to its original size and shape. The transformation appears to be temporary, she noted. How long does the enlarged state typically last? That depends. On various factors, Jake said, grateful that things were returning to normal. Zara finally stepped back and made her final notes. This has been most educational, she said. I must share these findings with the Biological Research Council on my homeworld. They will be fascinated by the adaptive nature of human reproductive anatomy. Jake put his clothes back on quickly. I am happy to help with interspecies understanding. He said, though he felt like he had just been through the most thorough and embarrassing medical exam of his life. Zara looked at him with what he had learned to recognize as her version of a smile. Thank you, Jake Miller. Your mini Shai-Hulud has taught me much about human biology. I look forward to continuing our researches. Jake left the medical bay. He wondered what other aspects of human anatomy Zara would want to study next. He made a mental note to warn the other human crew members about her scientific curiosity. Meanwhile, Zara began writing her report to send back to her homeworld. She had always known humans were strange, but this discovery proved they were far more complex and interesting than anyone had realized. The mini Shai-Hulud, as she had decided to call it, was just the beginning of what she hoped would be a long and productive study of human biology. Little did Jake know that his embarrassing afternoon would lead to the most comprehensive interspecies biological research project in galactic history. And little did Zara know that her innocent scientific curiosity would make her the most famous xenobiologist in 3-star system.